From slapping their biggest rivals 4-0,
this could be 4, Rafinha over the goalkeeper,
to losing to Las Palmas.
Las Palmas have taken the lead again.
From thinking they were going to win the treble, to potentially going trophyless. From dominating everyone,
And Lamine Yamal into the roof of the net. He scored his first goal in a Clasico.
to missing easy chances, Barcelona are a story on their own. So how exactly did the Catalans go from being the most informed team in the world to struggling again? Barcelona is the type of club where the highs and lows are always exaggerated. If you are a fan, then October, that was like heaven for you. The month started with a 5-0 dominance of Young Boys. Pause. Then a 3-0 slapping of Alaves, followed by a 5-1 win over Sevilla. Barca were in full rhythm. Flick's system was working, they were scoring goals for fun. These guys looked like they were playing Ultimate Team on amateur. Then they ended the month with 2 iconic performances. First, they beat Bayern Munich 4-1 in the Champions League. A huge result given Barca's history in the competition, specifically against Bayern, a team that has caused them so much pain. It was an impressive performance that reminded people that Barca are here to compete. It looked even better because 3 days later, Barca went to the Bernabeu and absolutely destroyed Real Madrid. It was reminiscent of the prime Pep Guardiola days. But underneath those performances, some cracks were becoming noticeable, and those same issues are rising up again. The number one issue with Barcelona currently is their inability to finish. Now you might be asking, why was this not an issue in October? Well, if you paid attention, it actually was. You see, against Real Madrid, they could have scored way more goals. Lewandowski missed some sitters. But because Barca were creating so many chances that it didn't matter if a player missed a chance here or there. The other thing was that Madrid didn't punish them. Had Mbappe understood how offsides work, a lot of those missed chances could have been converted to Real Madrid goals. People forget, but there was a lot of moments in the game where Real Madrid could have changed the momentum, but they failed to convert their chances, so they ended up getting slapped.
They risked it and they could have lost it in the first half if Real Madrid would have done better the timing of the runs. Don't forget about that, of course.
While other teams, they've learned how to punish Barca. Take the game against Atletico Madrid. Atletico created practically nothing, yet they won the game. That's because Barca missed a lot of chances. Rafinha missed a breakaway, Lewandowski missed a sitter. The player I feel the worst for was Pedri. He put on a masterclass and these guys kept wasting his chances. Here's actually a live look of Pedri in the locker room. What's worse is that teams have begun to figure out Flick's system more. In the beginning of the season, it was a huge surprise to teams. Barca being so direct, so fluid, not playing the traditional 4-3-3 system. The pressing, the high line, the offside traps. It was all new for La Liga teams. It's why September and October were filled with goals. I mean, Barca put 7 goals past the team. When's the last time you saw that? But now, teams have adjusted a bit more. So when it's 1-0 and you miss an amazing chance, there are far less opportunities to redeem yourself. Teams now have learned that they can break the offside trap by making deep runs from the midfield. Look at Real Betis' goal. Look at how Real Sociedad was playing. I'm actually a bit surprised that it took teams this long to understand that a basic third-man run would essentially disrupt Flick's entire system. As a result now, every big chance that's missed hurts the team way more than before. But I don't believe that Barca are suffering from a tactical issue. Yes, teams have become more adjusted to Flick's system, but Barca are still dominating and controlling games. When you are creating chances but not finishing them, that's not a tactical issue, that's a quality issue. The players simply need to be better in front of goal, especially some of the veteran and more experienced players on the team. Because right now, Barcelona are playing their nice football, a lot of foreplay, no penetration. Are there some defensive issues? Sure. Are some players making individual mistakes defensively? Absolutely. But I think a lot of those issues could be avoided if Barcelona actually put away their chances in the attacking third. Because the way it works in La Liga against Barcelona, against Real Madrid, against these big clubs, when you're 1 goal, 2 goal up, the team can't park the bus anymore. They have to come out, and usually that's when Barcelona will put 4 or 5 goals past them. But when it's 1-0 and you don't put away those chances, the likelihood of you getting hit on the counter is so high. Now what's funny is that being clinical was an issue that happened under Xavi as well, with Lewandowski being one of the biggest culprits. At one point in 2024, Lewandowski had the most big chances missed in the league, yet he was coming out and talking to the media about how he wasn't getting enough service. That was one of the biggest reasons why I made a short last year saying that Lewandowski needs to learn Arabic. A lot of people mocked me, but those same issues are now happening in 2025. Now these issues were hidden under Flick because again, the team was creating so many chances. Eventually Lewandowski was going to have to score one of them. Now, this isn't to say that Lewandowski is bad. He has still had some great moments. In fact, if anything, it's a bigger issue on the club in terms of recruiting that they're relying so much on a guy who's closer to 40 than 30 to lead the line. Because when you look at it from the manager's perspective, if Lewandowski isn't finishing, what's Flick's options? Yes, Ferran Torres has had some moments, but even he is over-reliant on Flick's system. How many chances did he miss before he has finally put the ball in the back of the net? His goal against Dortmund was almost another big chance missed. And that brings me to the next issue. I already kind of spoke about it. It's the lack of quality and depth in the team. Something that Xavi actually assessed very well before he was booted. There are many positions in this Barca team where the drop-off between the guy starting and his backup are huge. I already mentioned one with Lewandowski, but a bigger issue is there is no answer for when Lamine Yamal isn't on the pitch. I don't think it's a good sign that a team is so reliant on a 17-year-old. Every time Yamal has either missed the game or not started, the team struggles. It's as simple as that. He is the main creator. There is a reason that this guy had the most assists out of everyone in the world in 2024. It's not by accident. He is a magician on the ball. I'm not saying that he's Messi, but he's the closest that we have seen to him in terms of being able to create something out of nothing. Yes, Rafinha and Lewandowski will have the better stats when Yamal is playing, but do not be fooled. Every attack goes through Lamine. It makes sense. Someone like Rafinha, for example, is much better off the ball. He's at his best when he's making those direct vertical runs in behind, and then he has someone like Yamal to be able to find him. In fact, go look at a lot of the goals that Barca were scoring early in the season. Many of them were just Yamal playing Rafinha through on goal. Same thing goes for Lewandowski. He's a pure number 9. Of course, he's going to need other players to create for him. The other thing is that Yamal unlocks Koundé. I know Koundé has had some good attacking performances here and there, but let's be honest, he is limited going forward. But when Yamal is playing, the Frenchman turns into Dani Alves. It's easier to play off of Yamal. He attracts a lot more attention, and that in turn creates more space for Koundé to push forward. It gives him more time on the ball. But this over-reliance needs to be fixed, and it can only be fixed by bringing in quality. Because whether it's an injury from fatigue or from a tackle, it doesn't really matter. Yamal is naturally going to miss games. The team has to be prepared, and the only way is to bring in a star. Now, of course, that's easier said than done, but there's no other normal player that's able to replicate this sort of quality. Pedri is a maestro, but his magic comes from the middle of the park. He can't be the solution to the Yamal problem. And you don't want to end up in a Messi in 2019 situation where you're relying on one guy to carry the whole team. And this is why I was always very vocal about not being a big fan of the Olmo signing. For the money that was spent, Olmo is supposed to be the guy that helps Yamal create or can take the responsibility when Yamal isn't available. He's supposed to be that guy, the center attacking mid that can play in between the lines, receive the ball in space, create chances. Now, I'm not saying he hasn't done that. He's a very good player, but I don't think he's done enough given how much money was spent on him during a time where Barca can't spend that much. He started off the season super well, then got injured, which is typical Olmo. He has been injury prone his whole career. It's why, again, I was hesitant about the signing. Nobody has ever doubted Olmo's talent, but for that amount of money, you want quality and you want availability. Like, think about this. Barca's best form came at a time when Olmo was injured. So you can't even give Olmo that much credit for that incredible start because he missed a huge chunk of it. Barca are in a position where the league is limiting how much they can spend. So when they have splashed the cash on a player, we have to see more output to justify the fee. He has the quality, we just need to see it more consistently. Quality and depth are also needed to avoid fatigue. When you play Flick's system, it's hard to maintain the intensity and speed he is asking for across a whole year. Considering how many games are in a year, how many competitions Barca are in, they need quality and depth everywhere because, again, like I said, there's too much of a downgrade when Flick wants to rotate. For example, Rafinha can't really get a rest because who's going to play on the wing? Olmo and Ferman can both play there, but both of them are much better centrally. Koundé has played so many games, but it's hard to rotate him because his backup is Fort. To get Balde some rest, Flick has to play Gerard Martin, a player who I'm pretty sure only plays because he has Flick's nudes or something on his phone. It would also help if the backup to every single position wasn't a youngster. La Masia is fantastic at producing talents, the integration is phenomenal, it's part of the Barca DNA, but it would help if there was also some more experience in the team. But this should be evidence to Barca fans that a lot of quality and depth is needed, because I remember some of them saying that we don't need Rafael Leao, I'm just using him as an example, because we already have Rafinha on the left wing, as if you only need one quality player in each position. This, by the way, is a concept that I have changed my opinion on, because I've realized that with 5 substitutions, with how many matches are being played, It's not enough to just have one good quality player that's your designated starting 11 player. You need significant depth because injuries happen, fatigue. The days of playing the same starting 11 over and over again are gone. Look at Liverpool. They have a quality player, at least 2 quality players in each position. Slot can rotate between Gakpo and Diaz, Gravenberch and McAllister and Curtis Jones. There's good players everywhere. Good depth has gone from being a luxury to a necessity. To me, this drop in form is simply a return to the median. It's a reminder that a lot of work is still needed on this team. A lot of things have to improve. I also hope that this reminds fans how impressive of a job Xavi did. Xavi won the league at the lowest point in the club's history. It didn't always look pretty, but you can't accidentally win the league. He was vocal about the issues of the team. Maybe he shouldn't have been, but he was correct in his assessment. Now, to be clear, I'm not saying that Xavi was the right guy, that he should have stayed, but I also didn't like that a lot of people were praising Flick early in the season in a way that mocked Xavi, when Xavi was the one that laid the foundation for what Flick is building on. And he won a title doing it. Flick is still a fantastic coach. As I said earlier, Barca are not facing a tactical issue, but even Hansi Flick isn't going to be able to fix every issue quickly. As I said after the El Clasico win, Barca may have won the battle, but the war is very long. The good thing is, just like the fact that the highs at Barca don't mean they're going to win the treble, the lows are often not as bad as you think. Barca are in no ways finished. They made some great progress. And in fact, one of the most bright spots in this team is Pedri. To see how Pedri is following in the footsteps of another Barcelona maestro in Andres Iniesta, you have to check out this video right here.